Hello, Randy Rain here, and one of my patrons who happens to live rather close to me wanted me to fix his TOMY Mr. Time, but he didn't just want to drop it off, so what he did was he bought me one. Pay attention, folks. This is how you move to the front of the line. I'm talking to you, Will. This is...
Garage.
Okay, so technically mine isn't a Mr. Time. Mine is the CoClock. I guess that's how you pronounce it. It's the exact same thing. It's made by TOMY. They just call it a CoClock, and for some reason it says RX down here, I guess. I don't know, but they're the exact same thing. This is the actual Mr. Time, though. And it's actually in really good shape. It has the battery door, a little bit of crust going on down there, but not too bad. But this guy's missing the battery door. We've got some yellowing of the eyes. This is brown here, and even the arms are a little bit different color than what this one. So I don't know if it's supposed to be like that or not. But the knobs back here are different as well. It's a little different color, but I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be or not. So let's have a look at Mr. Time here. They take one D battery and one AA. The D runs the mechanics of the robot, and the AA just runs the clock. So if you put it in demo mode, he actually kind of does his sleep thing. Okay, so that works. But you're supposed to be able to push this. That sets off the alarm. The same thing that alarm goes when you want to wake up. And his arm should be moving, but ain't nothing happening there. Oh, it's beeping now. And it sounds terrible. Screeching and well, that's what that one does. Look over here at old CoClock. That should be in demo right there, and it's not doing anything. No, nothing on demo. I got a beep that won't turn off, and no movement. Oh, it turned off there. You have to take the battery out. So these aren't working, and these need to be fixed. I'm going to start with this one, mine. That way I'll learn on this one. By the time I get to this one, I'll know exactly what's going on. So let's open it up. There's these two switches here. This one pops off. It's pushing these two together. And then this is mechanical. You can see something poking there. It's doing something here, but it pulls right out. And there's what we're looking at. I mean, I've already noticed that this wire, the solder broke off of it. So that's something. Just wonder about this head. So far, all the same screws. TOMY's really good about that. You don't have to worry about keeping which ones go where. They're all the same. Okay, so here's a... Is this going to come off? No, but this will. Seems this whole thing. Okay, these eyes are this thing here. I'm not sure if it's can come out or not. I think you could pop it out. Let's go deeper. More of the same screws. Alright, so little just extensions basically to get to these little gears here on the clock. And it's just a simple little clock machine. A little piezo speaker probably. Okay, step one is soldering this back. Okay, so here's how this thing works. There's these 3 tabs here, and they connect to the battery. So you have a lot of potential to fail here if this is oxidized and not making good contact. So that could be a lot of the problem right there. This is ground, so this is negative. This is positive coming from the AA battery. This is positive coming from the D battery. So start with the D battery here. This one, the positive is coming down, going to the motor, comes over here to this motor. So positive from the D battery on both sides of the motor. Now if you look at negative, it's coming down here, but it's not going to this motor. It's coming down here. It's coming all the way to here, to this switch. This is the little demo switch back here. Moving this pushes this down, which now brings the negative back up here to this motor. So this motor turns on. This motor activates the sleeping mechanism. So it turns this motor on. So I can make it work by hooking that to there, and then the negative down there, and then hooking up a D battery. So yeah, that's all it is. It's very fine-toothed gears, and it's turning this motor barely. You can see down in here it's being transferred. This is the sleeping action here. You can see it coming up. So that's the only electronics going to that motor right there. It's just that switch. Now the negative going to this motor is different. It's not this one. You have to look at the other one. The negative comes up here along with this orange and blue. Now the orange is the positive from the D battery, and the blue is the positive from the AA, and then this is negative from both of them. And they come up. The negative comes over to this switch right here, and it's going to this piece of metal here. Also connected here is a yellow wire. That yellow wire is going up, so it has ground negative as well. And it's now coming up through the head. Then when you get up here to this thing, the positive D is this orange, and then the yellow coming in here is negative, and the blue coming in here is what's running the clock. So that's the positive that's running the clocks from the AA battery. Now you have a white wire coming out here, and you have a brown wire coming out here, and you have these two pinkish colors. Now the pinkish colors is going to this switch right here on the top of the head. So it's the white wire and the brown wire that we need to look at. If you come down here, the white wire is going to this side of this switch. Okay? And the brown wire is coming down to here, to this switch here. So start with the white wire. Here's what happens. When you push this button down right here, you're connecting negative through these pinkish wires here, and they're going to this white wire right here. That white wire comes down to here, bringing negative to here. That negative also has this black wire that comes down to here. This is the one I had to resolder back on. And then it comes down to the other side of the motor, turning this motor on. That motor is going to turn this wheel right here. As this wheel is in this position, it's pushing this up. So as it starts turning, it's now pushing this up. Now negative is also coming in through here. So the white wire already has negative coming into it, but now there's also negative coming in from this being activated right here, down and turning on the motor. So if you was to let up on the switch, that kills the white wire, but now it's turned itself on and negative is coming through here. So the motor activates. So now he's doing his activation, flipping his arms and all kinds of stuff. And then until this turns around and it falls back down, and that kills the negative coming through here, so that turns the motor off. So that's how you activating for testing him on the top of the head. Now this brown wire here, this switch right here sets in like this. And if you look on the back, it's the alarm, off and on. Okay, so now when you push this here for the alarm, it's connecting here. So what happens is now up here on the top, when the alarm goes off, it sends negative through the brown. And that brown comes down to here, goes through here, and turns the motor on. So now the alarm's gone off, and it's putting a negative down to here. So to turn it off, you push like that, and it disconnects here. And notice it also resets that right there. So now it's now in the notch. So if it wasn't, if it had turned, doing that right there drops this back down. So now it's cut itself off. So let's look at the mechanics now. So let's start with the sleeping. Runs off this motor. It's got very fine tooth gear here. I'm glad that's not broken, but it's not. And so basically we're just going small, big. There's a small one to there, to this big one. So we're just reducing it down. We're getting less speed, but more torque. So it's connecting to this gear right here, and it's connecting to that big one. You see when I turn it on? You can see that big gear, it has a cam on it. And that cam is what's moving this on top. This little piece here is hitting on that spring and it's pushing up. Now as far as this one goes, it looks like a 9 or 10 tooth gear and it looks fine. No broken gears so far. So basically we're getting reduced down. Small, big, small, big, small to big, down to here. Now it branches off up to here, going from the small down here to this big, to this small, to this very big here. That's connected to this shaft here. But it's also connected, this one right here is also connected to this little small one here, which is spinning this down here, this gear hiding in here. But it's not being connected right now to this one. There's a big gear right back here that has little tabs that flick this thing and push it over. And when it does, you can see it right here hooked to this one. Turning this one makes the arms flail, so it turns and makes this one rock back and forth, turning the arms, and it goes all the way through. So that's connected here, so that comes up here, goes to this one, and this is going to here, and this is turning the big gear, and that's what's activating this one down here. It's also has these little bump things down in here that's pushing the top piece again. So you can see it in action. Okay, I need to Retrobrite. This is oil-based clay, so it will not dissolve in the water. Now I've got this stuff. I wanted 40, but they were out of 40, so I'm going with 30. Go ahead and fill the rest with water. And now I took a board and consolidated all my little LEDs, UV LEDs. So that little tiny gear up there on the clock to adjust the time or the alarm is cracked. Little bitty thing. Here it is next to a toothpick. That's how small this thing is. There's no way I can just pour that small amount of a little gear like that. So I'm going to make a little robot. Alright, let's give it a shot. Did it work? I think it worked. Door up on a bed of clay. can see how well the Retrobrite came out. There's a little bit of yellowing still. Okay. So here's the eyes. There's a slight hint of a little bit of yellow, but just barely. It came out pretty good. Anyway, this little slot here has to go onto this thing, and then getting trapped in here by this. There. There's a little peg here. That peg is going in. Peg is going to go in right here to move this. Then you have this little piece. The shorter side, or the goes towards the ramp. And you can see the push button, still a little bit of yellow left, but not too bad. It clicks into place, just like so. And cover goes on. Put the little eyes in, and let gravity be your friend. The arms came out really good though, but these are for if some kid grabs it and forces the arms, they're going to break right here and not break the... Yeah, so the arms go on, and then the front plate goes on. Back on there. This goes in like so, and make sure this wire's out of the way. I'd go ahead and pull these out just a little bit, make sure they make a good connection. And this goes on. I gave it a couple of tries with the doors. I think this one came out the best, even though I don't know what that is, but anyway. Well, there you have it, the TOMY Mr. Time and the TOMY Co-Clock. Now, this one had a few more things wrong with it that I really didn't show, like the connections of the metal kind of needed to be bent and tweaked a little bit. One gear on the shaft had kind of wiggled. I needed to push it. I don't know. But it was a little bit harder to do than this one. And at times I was ready to co-clock this thing. But I got it working finally. Got both of them working finally. So you want to see it happen. So here it is. First thing you can do is put it in demo mode. And that's make some sleep. And even when it's in demo mode like this, you can push the activate button on top. And then it goes right back into sleep mode. So of course, sleep mode is using up battery, so you can leave it off if you want to. The alarm switches on the backs work. The clocks seem to keep pretty good time. Now, I don't know if I would trust the alarm clock for some important meeting or anything, but they do work. The Mr. Time and the Co-Clock. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please support the channel and hit the like button. If you want to see more stuff like this, please subscribe. I want to thank these people right here. These are patrons. These are people helping me out. And one of these patrons up here owns this one, and he gave this one to me. Yes, thank you very much. Thank all you very much. I sure appreciate it. That was...
Randi Robot Garage.